Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, and today we want to talk about how to work out the return on the capital, the money that you're going to put into the deals. Now, a lot of people talk about yield, but really that's not really what I'm interested in. I'm actually more interested in what is the actual return on the money that I'm putting into a deal, and that's what I want to work out with you here today. Now, this channel, if you don't know already and you're new to this channel, is all about my property journey. I'm currently expanding my portfolio, but not just for me. I'm actually building a new portfolio for my two daughters, Georgia, who's 21, and we've just bought a property up in Doncaster, and Amelie, who's 1 as well. So do join us on the journey. Do see what happens, the highs and lows and everything in between. And how you can join us is take that finger of power out right now, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell notification, guys. So do that now. Smash the bell, smash subscribe even, hit the bell, and join us on the journey. Find out how it goes and see all the behind the scenes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's going to be really good fun. Now, I want to talk about return on cash. So that's really what's important. So when you get a deal, you're going to put money into a deal, and you want to see what the return is. Is it going to be better than putting it in a bank? So I'm going to make numbers quite easy here. So we're going to look in Doncaster, just because that's where I've just recently invested. So it makes it easy for me. And we're going to look for properties that are £100,000. So we're on Rightmove here, and I've done a search within half a mile. Properties that are on for £100,000, and there's 27 of those. This is interesting because I actually thought this was my house. This looks just like the one that I've just bought. They all look very similar up in Doncaster. So you get 2-bedroom terrace house pretty much. This one's slightly bigger. It's a 3-bed terrace house here for 100 grand. That's not bad. Needs a bit of wallpapering, decorating and stuff like that, but yeah, you get some pretty good deals for around 100 grand in Doncaster. So let's have a quick look. What's this one? Flats. You got some terrace houses, so you get a lot of good solid buildings up there for 100 grand, so you can't really go wrong with that. Now, if you are buying to be an investor, then you need to look at a few things. You're going to be looking at a buy-to-let mortgage, and so it is important that you earn some money, but it's not so important to the lender. What's more important is that you've got a deposit and that the deal stacks up, meaning you're going to make profit. So you're going to have to give them 25% of the value of the house as a deposit. So if we're talking 100 grand, we're using easy numbers here. That means your deposit on one of these lovely houses up here, this one looks pretty good, right? The deposit on this one is going to be £25,000. Now, because this is an investment property, it's probably going to be an additional property for you. You might get lucky if you're a first-time buyer, and not get any stamp duty, but really you're looking at as this is an additional property. So you're going to have to pay something called stamp duty, which is around 3% of the purchase price. Unfortunately, you can't get around that. So you're going to buy it for 100 grand, so it's going to cost you £103,000 because you've got stamp duty, right? That means now your money into this deal is £28,000 because you've got 25% deposit, £3,000 as stamp duty. Now, let's be realistic here. We're going to need a legal person to help us. So we're going to need a solicitor. And so a solicitor is going to cost us around about £1,000 for someone fairly decent. That's about the normal price for a conveyancing solicitor. So we're now in the deal for £29,000. Right, so now we want to figure out how are we going to get our money back? How much money are we going to get back each year off the back of that? So we now need to figure out our costs. So what are our costs each year? Well, we're going to have a mortgage on that. So I use a mortgage broker, but if I want to see roughly what the prices are, I go to Money Supermarket, or you can use any Go Compare the Market, Meerkat, whatever it is. Use one of those comparison sites and look for a buy-to-let mortgage, right? So we're saying here the property is £100,000. Now we're going to put a deposit in of £25,000. The term, it doesn't make much difference because you're only paying the interest, but put it like 20 years, 25 years. The payments won't go up or down because of that. And you want to do something called interest only. Interest only. Now, I've actually got another video on this channel where you can see the importance to understand the difference between interest only or repayment mortgages. So do go and check that video out while you're here as well, because that will really make a big difference and make really interesting viewing. So we're only going to pay the interest. So what that means is we're going to borrow £75,000 here, right? So we're going to borrow £75,000. We're going to put the term of the mortgage over 25 years, and every single month, all we're going to be doing is paying down interest that we owe. So at the end of it, we still owe the £75,000. And that's fine, because in 25 years, £75,000 will be nothing, or we could switch it to a repayment mortgage. But right now, what we're interested in is cash flow, making profit in this deal, right? So let's have a look at the results. So if we were to borrow £75,000 over 25 years, the payments are only 149. Some of you might have credit card payments that are more than that, right? Crazy, isn't it? So you can get a very, very good deals here. So for £149, you can borrow £75,000. So let's work out those numbers here. So £149 times 12. So that means for the year, the mortgage payments are £1,788. £1,788. Right. Now, we then need to look at other costs that we might have on a yearly basis. So first off, we need to know how much rent are we going to get each month. These houses, these 100 grand houses up in Doncaster, they rent for around £500 a month. Normally, pretty standard, £500 a month. Very, very straightforward, easy money, right? So, that means we are going to get £6,000 in rent per year. £6,000 rent per year, which is pretty good. Now, we're also going to have voids and maintenance. So we like to budget 10% for voids and maintenance. So £600 we're saying. Now we might not get any voids and we might not get any maintenance, and we can claim but we like to put that money aside. So we need to say, look, the boiler might break, we might get a problem with a leak, and so we might need to get a roofer out. So we keep back 10% of the rent for that. So we're keeping back £600. Just keep it to one side and we don't spend that. That's our maintenance fund. Now, let's have a look at this now. So what we're saying is we've made £6,000 for the year in rent. Now, if we take away £1,788 is our mortgage payments. 1,788 is our mortgage payments. So we take away that. Then we take away 600. Means we're going to be left with, for us, £3,612. £3,612. Okay, so that's not bad. And we've invested £29,000. So if we divide that by £29,000 and then times, and that gives us this number, times it by 100, gives us 12.4%. So what we're saying here is if we bought a property here for £100,000, we rented it out for £500, we allow for voids and maintenance, we allow for our mortgage payments, we're going to make roughly 12% per year. Now, here's some really exciting stuff. Before I give you one other thing that you really need to take into consideration here, do smash the like button quickly. Ask any questions that you got below. I'll personally reply to all of those. And if you didn't earlier, subscribe. But do smash the like button, guys. That really helps me with YouTube. Now, here's another thing, right? So we're going to put in £29,000. We're going to make 12% back a year. You can't make that in a bank. Right? Now, here's one thing that I've missed off. You're also going to get capital appreciation. So each year, the value of that house is going to go up. Now, in different areas, different properties will go up at different percentages. So London normally goes up the fastest, but it hasn't been recently. Doncaster, though, has gone up recently in the last year 14%. 14%. So I'm also going to make possibly, if that continued for another year, which it wouldn't happen every single year, but if I'd bought this last year, I'd have bought it for 100 grand, it would now be worth 114 grand. So now I've got, my net worth's gone up by 14 grand because the equity has gone up by 14%, which is crazy. So I will have made the £3,000, I would have made the £14,000 in equity. That's £17,000 I would have made back from investing £29,000. Now that £29,000 is also still there. It still counts as my net worth because it's in the property. I still own the property. Remember, I've only got a £75,000 loan. So let's just work out what our net worth might get to off of that. So we're saying, look, we bought the property for £100,000, right? Let's just say that the rent that we made £3,000 for a year, right? We'll knock off another £500-600 for agency fees and stuff like that, right? So we're saying, look, we made £3,000 profit from the rent, and the equity went up by £14,000. So potentially we're now worth £117,000, but we've still got our deposit in there. Now we owe the bank stamp duty. We're never going to get back. Legal fees we're never going to get back. But the 25% deposit, that still sits in this property. That's our net worth. That's part of our net worth here, guys, right? So this this £1,700, sorry, £117,000, let's just take away the £75,000 that we owe as the mortgage. If we cleared that down, we've now got £42,000. £42,000, right? Our net worth has gone from 29 up to £42,000. And so this is what happens when you invest in property. And I want you guys to really, really start thinking about this and considering it, because you invest, you make money from rent. That's your cash flow. That's what keeps you alive. That's what pays your bills. Your net worth, though, really is where this gets really powerful, because if you buy in the right area, somewhere where they appreciate as an asset, then you're also going to be making capital appreciation. And you can release that every few years, every 2, 3, 4 years when you do a remortgage. So if you've got one of these mortgage deals, this deal is for how long? 5 years. You can do a 2-year deal, right? Let's see. Does that make it cheaper? Yeah, way cheaper. Look, if I actually, so I can make more profit by like deciding to go on to a 2-year fixed. It's 40 quid cheaper, right? And so in 2 years, I could then look at the value of the house. If it's gone up, hopefully, then I can release some of that equity, do a refinance. That's going to be my deposit for my next one, and I'm going to go again. And this is how property investors get really, really successful and make really big money, by releasing equity. They're not just, I mean, if you look at this deal and we're only making £3,000 in the rent roll, that's going to take us years to get the next deposit, right? If we need to get the 25 grand again, it's going to take years and years and years and years and years to get that back up, only earning £3,000 a year. So how we're leveraging our money is by capital appreciation and by the rent and by side hustles and stuff like that. You can, in your job, be saving up for your next deposit as well. And this compounds quite quickly. So I hope you found this useful. Go and check out all the other videos on my channel, guys. I've got videos all about interest only versus repayment. I've got videos about how to release equity from there. And we've just done a full an hour-long tutorial on how we recently bought from auction, which I'm going to pin as a comment here below. Anyway, I hope you found this useful and insightful. Do ask me any questions. Do like the video, subscribe and join us on this journey, and watch this video that comes up now. Thanks a lot.